Welcome to your personalized deep dive. Today, we're going to be tackling a fascinating comparison of three leading large language models: ChatGPT DeepSeek and Anthropic's Claude Sonnet.
Sounds good.
For anyone who's new to this world, large language models are basically superpowered text predictors that can write, translate, and even code based on the prompts you give them. We've got a stack of your research and notes to sort through, and our mission is to figure out what makes each of these models tick and which one might be the best fit for different needs.
Exactly. Think of it like choosing the right tool from your AI toolbox.
Okay, I love that analogy. So one thing that immediately jumped out at me was Claude Sonnet's ability to process a massive amount of text. We're talking like up to 100,000 tokens. Can you break that down for us in practical terms? And actually, what are tokens anyway?
You're right, that long context ability is really impressive, but first, to clarify for our listeners, tokens are basically the building blocks of language: words, punctuation marks, and so on. So 100,000 tokens is like feeding the model an entire research paper or even like a short novel. Yeah. This allows Claude Sonnet to understand complex relationships and nuances in text that shorter context models might miss.
Okay, so it's not just about processing more words. It's about understanding the deeper connections within a large chunk of text.
Exactly.
That makes me think of legal document review. I read that Claude Sonnet is particularly good at that. Is that because of this long context capability?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Think of it this way. A shorter context model might only see individual clauses in a contract, while Claude Sonnet can grasp the entire document, spotting potential loopholes or inconsistencies that others might overlook.
It's like having an AI lawyer by your side.
Exactly, meticulously combing through every detail.
That's a powerful advantage in a field where precision is everything. But let's shift gears for a second. ChatGPT seems to be everywhere these days. Is it still the most popular model out there?
It definitely holds a dominant position, especially in consumer-facing applications. You see it powering chatbots, writing assistants, and even creative tools like Dalili for image generation.
Right. I've even seen it integrated into Microsoft products. It seems like they're really pushing ChatGPT's accessibility.
Absolutely. That integration with tools like Microsoft Copilot makes it incredibly user-friendly, even for people who aren't tech-savvy. It's like having an AI assistant right at your fingertips, ready to help with everyday tasks.
So we've got Claude Sonnet, the meticulous legal eagle with its long context superpowers, and ChatGPT, the versatile all-rounder that's becoming increasingly accessible. But where does DeepSeek fit into this picture? It seems like the underdog in this comparison.
DeepSeek might not have the same mainstream recognition as the other two, but it's a force to be reckoned with, particularly in the open source community.
Now, you've used the term open source a couple of times.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that means for someone who might not be familiar with the concept?
Sure. Think of open source as having the recipe for the AI. It means the code is freely available for anyone to use, modify, and distribute. So instead of being locked into a specific company's ecosystem, you have the freedom to tinker with the AI, adapt it to your specific needs, and even contribute to its development.
Okay.
It's like having a collaborative cookbook where everyone can share their best recipes and improve upon existing ones.
That makes a lot of sense. So with DeepSeek, you're not just using the AI, you're part of a community that's constantly evolving and refining it. But how does that translate into real-world advantages? What are DeepSeek's strengths compared to these other models?
One of DeepSeek's standout qualities is its prowess in logical reasoning and tasks that involve heavy mathematical computations. It's like the math whiz of the AI world, capable of crunching numbers and solving complex problems with impressive speed and accuracy.
That sounds like it would be incredibly valuable for researchers, scientists, and anyone working with data-intensive applications.
Absolutely. And because it's open source, researchers have the freedom to peer under the hood, understand how the model works, and potentially adapt it to their specific research needs. This transparency is a major advantage in the scientific community, where reproducibility and understanding the underlying mechanisms are crucial.
So we've got our long context specialist in Claude Sonnet, our versatile and accessible ChatGPT, and our open source math whiz in DeepSeek. It's fascinating to see how each model brings its own unique strengths to the table. But let's get down to the practicalities. What about pricing? How do these models compare when it comes to cost?
That's a key consideration, especially if you're planning to use these models for commercial applications or large-scale projects. Let's break down the pricing models and see how they stack up.
Let's do it. I'm curious to see if there's a clear winner in the affordability department.
All right, so let's start with ChatGPT. They have a tiered subscription model ChatGPT Plus gives you premium access to their most advanced model, GPT-4, for $20 a month.
Okay, so that seems pretty reasonable for individuals who are just using it for writing casual coding or just exploring the capabilities of AI.
Right. And if you want to integrate ChatGPT into your own applications or workflows, they offer API access starting at a fraction of a cent per 1,000 tokens.
Right, those are the building blocks of language we were talking about earlier.
Right.
So if you're a business or developer working with large volumes of text, the cost can add up, but for smaller scale projects, it's still relatively affordable. What about DeepSeek? Since it's open source, does that mean it's completely free to use?
Well, there are two sides to that coin. You can download and run DeepSeek's models on your own hardware, which is essentially free if you have the technical expertise. But they also offer an API that's incredibly cost-effective, even for large-scale projects.
Okay. How does their API pricing compare to ChatGPT?
DeepSeek's pricing is significantly lower. For example, DeepSeek V2 is priced at a fraction of a cent per 1,000 output tokens, making it a very attractive option for budget-conscious developers or researchers.
Wow, that's quite a difference. So we have ChatGPT with its tiered subscription and API access, and DeepSeek, which is either free if you're comfortable with self-hosting, or very affordable through their API. What about Claude Sonnet? How does its pricing structure work?
Claude Sonnet's pricing is a bit more opaque. They don't publicly advertise their rates, but they're generally considered a premium solution geared towards enterprise clients. Their focus is on providing high-quality, reliable outputs, especially for those long context tasks we discussed earlier.
So if you're a business that needs the assurance of a top-tier model and you're working with complex long-form content, Claude Sonnet might be worth the investment, even if it comes at a higher price tag.
That's a good way to sum it up. It really comes down to your specific needs and budget.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground on pricing, but now I'm curious about another aspect of these models. We know ChatGPT has some coding skills and DeepSeek is great with logic, but I'm wondering, how do they actually perform in the real world of software development? What are their coding superpowers?
Let's dive into that. Starting with ChatGPT, one of its biggest strengths in coding is its versatility. It can understand and generate code in a wide range of programming languages, from popular ones like Python and JavaScript to more specialized languages.
So it's like a polyglot programmer, fluent in many different coding languages.
Exactly. And it's not just about writing code. ChatGPT is also quite skilled at debugging, which is a lifesaver for any developer who's ever spent hours trying to find a pesky error in their code.
I can definitely relate to that. So ChatGPT can help me catch those bugs before they become major headaches.
Absolutely. It can analyze your code, identify potential issues, and even suggest solutions. And with its integration into platforms like GitHub Copilot, it can provide real-time code suggestions as you're writing, almost like having an experienced developer looking over your shoulder.
That sounds incredibly helpful. It looks like having an AI pair programmer right there in your editor.
Yeah.
What about DeepSeek? How do its coding abilities compare?
DeepSeek, with its focus on logic and mathematical reasoning, excels in a different aspect of coding. It's particularly adept at handling complex algorithms and tasks that require a deep understanding of mathematical concepts.
So if I'm working on a project that involves heavy calculations or intricate data structures, DeepSeek might be the better choice.
Exactly. DeepSeek Coder, their specialized coding model, is designed to handle those logic-intensive tasks with efficiency and precision.
So it's like having a specialist on your team, someone who's an expert in the finer points of algorithms and data manipulation.
That's a great analogy. And because it's open source, you can fine-tune DeepSeek Coder to your specific coding style or the nuances of your project.
That level of customization is a real advantage. So we have ChatGPT, the versatile coding all-rounder, and DeepSeek Coder, the logic and algorithm specialist. What about Claude Sonnet? Does it have any coding capabilities?
Claude Sonnet might not be as well known for its coding skills, but it brings a unique strength to the table code documentation and explanation.
So instead of writing the code itself, Claude Sonnet helps us understand and document existing code.
Precisely.
Right.
Remember its long context abilities. That makes it incredibly good at grasping the big picture of a complex code base and generating clear and concise documentation.
So if I'm working on a large project with a team of developers, Claude Sonnet could be invaluable in making sure everyone understands how the different parts of the code fit together.
Exactly. It can help bridge communication gaps, streamline the development process, and ensure that the code base is well documented and maintainable.
It's like having an AI technical writer on the team, making sure the code is clear and comprehensible to everyone.
That's a great way to put it. So while ChatGPT is your go-to for general-purpose coding and DeepSeek excels at logic-heavy tasks, Claude Sonnet shines in the realm of code documentation and explanation.
Okay, I'm really starting to see how each of these models has its own unique strengths in the coding world. ChatGPT is the versatile all-rounder, DeepSeek is the logic specialist, and Claude Sonnet is the code communicator. But with all these amazing coding capabilities, I have to wonder, are there any limitations to these models? Are there any situations where they might struggle or fall short?
That's a great question. It's important to remember that even the most advanced AI models are still under development, and they do have their limitations. Let's explore some of the potential weaknesses of each model and how those might impact their effectiveness in certain coding scenarios.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I want to make sure our listener has a complete picture, both the good and the potentially challenging aspects of using these AI coding companions. As we've been discussing these AI coding companions, it struck me that we're really just scratching the surface of what's possible.
I completely agree. We're still in the early stages of AI-powered coding, and the pace of innovation is simply astounding. It's exciting to imagine what the next few years will bring.
It really feels like we're on the verge of a major shift in how software is developed. What are some of the advancements or breakthroughs you're most anticipating in this field?
One area that holds immense potential is the development of AI models that can understand and generate code at an even higher level of abstraction. Imagine describing a software application in plain English, and the AI translates that into a fully functional code base.
That's incredible. It would be like having an AI architect who can design and build software based on your vision, even if you don't have the technical skills to write the code yourself.
Precisely. It would democratize software development, making it accessible to a much wider range of people and potentially unleashing a wave of creativity and innovation.
It's a really exciting thought. But as with any powerful technology, there are also potential challenges and risks to consider.
Yeah.
What are some of the things we need to be mindful of as AI becomes more integrated into the coding process?
One concern is the potential for unintended consequences. As AI systems become more complex and autonomous, it becomes increasingly difficult to fully predict how they'll behave in every situation. We need to develop robust testing and validation methods to ensure that AI-generated code is reliable and doesn't introduce unexpected errors or vulnerabilities.
That makes sense. We wouldn't want an AI to inadvertently create a security flaw or a logical error that could have serious repercussions down the line.
Exactly. Another challenge is ensuring that AI-generated code is aligned with human values and ethical principles. We need to carefully consider the potential biases that might be embedded in the training data used to develop these models and develop mechanisms to mitigate those biases.
It's crucial that we ensure these AI systems are used responsibly and that the software they create reflects the values we want to see in the world.
Absolutely. It's not just about creating AI that can code. It's about creating AI that can code ethically and responsibly.
So as we look ahead to the future of AI-powered coding, it seems like there's a delicate balance to strike between fostering innovation and addressing potential risks.
I couldn't agree more. It's an exciting but also challenging time. We need to be thoughtful and proactive in how we develop and deploy these powerful technologies working together to ensure that they're used for good.
Well said.
Yeah.
This has been a truly fascinating deep dive into the world of AI coding companions. I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on the potential of AI to transform the way we create software.
It's been a pleasure exploring these exciting developments with you. And remember, this is just the beginning of the journey. As AI continues to evolve, we can expect even more transformative changes in the coding landscape.
It's both exhilarating and a little bit daunting to think about all the possibilities that lie ahead. But one thing's for sure, the future of coding is going to be anything but boring.
Absolutely. And to our listener, we encourage you to stay curious, keep exploring, and be a part of shaping this exciting future.
That's a great note to end on. So until next time, happy coding and keep those creative sparks flying.